I despise these things, I will be honest with you. Oh, of course it's Chuck. Ugh. Do you know what? I like Chuck less because he's not allowing me to enjoy this because he's playing beautifully, and I hate that I said that. But I can't enjoy it because it's him. Interesting. I'm so happy that he messed up. Do it again. Tease me. Treat me. Interesting choice of song. There's like melancholic notes, but there's also, I don't know, it's like a new dawn. Do you know what I mean? It kind of sounds like that a little bit. I don't know, maybe I'm just being pretentious. That's fair. I can't be pretentious. I'm wearing a furry gilet, dude. Like instant null and void. Do you know what I mean? But there's like happy notes, but it's also sad throughout. Very interesting choice of song. I feel like it does. I think it sums up Chuck's character at this point in the show. There is that level of, new dawn, he's getting better a little bit, going back to work, right? That's huge for him. There's got to absolutely be a level of happiness there and joy there for that. But I do think he does. I think he feels for this broken relationship with his brother. I've talked about it before, as much as I think he's absolutely the bad guy, and as much as I don't think it matters at this point, considering what he's done and what he did, he does. He feels for his brother. He does love his brother in his own way. So there is that sadness there in the music. That sadness there, I think, in Chuck at that broken relationship. Is he going to mess up again? Interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like this is almost a representation of his cleverness, right? His life being this silky smooth lawyer, clever man that everyone keeps telling him he is. And I think him playing the piano like this, right? Playing this beautiful song on the piano represents that aspect to his persona, his character. And I feel like it's very symbolic that he's messing that up. So there's a glitch in the matrix, right? A hitch in that tapestry that has been kind of infallible up to this point. And I think that hitch is Jimmy. Right, the silky smooth road that he was perhaps on, or at least the intact image that he had of himself, I think, right? This good guy, who's doing it for all the right reasons, who's keeping this chimp with the machine gun from that machine gun as much as he possibly could. And now that the cat's out of the bag, we have this, very pristine image that he has of himself, and he's being faced with this horrible thing that he's done to his brother. And it's this beautiful, genius, clever man tapestry has got a hitch in it. And I feel like this absolutely directly symbolizes that, the hiccup that the confrontation with Jimmy had on Chuck, the man we see before us. It's not quite the same, you know what I mean? He can't quite play the song the same way, and his life isn't quite the same without Jimmy.
Howard. Morning.
Oh, hello.
Did I hear music?
No, let me get that for you.
Interesting. Yeah, he absolutely does not want to show any part of himself as making a mistake, as being less than perfect. Again, that ego.
You are sorely missed, my friend. Don't take that as any undue pressure.
Very nice of you, Howard. Well done. Interesting that he's not going back into work. That didn't continue. His road to recovery didn't continue, and I think the reason for that is kind of obvious, right?
We'd love to have you. We will take anything we can get.
Again, very interesting. Howard wouldn't do this for anybody else.
Davis and Maine are
I love, by the way, just a little bit of Howard appreciation. I love his little mannerisms. The actor playing Howard, I think he's really, really great. There was a moment, I don't think it was Pimento, where Kim came into his office and he was like, just one moment, and he was doing something on his computer, and then he just kind of paused, drew back, and like crossed his legs and was like, "What's up?" And it was just so beautiful. It was so meticulous. It was so kind of like careful. I think he's carefully almost groomed himself to be this picture of excellence. This very kind of to-do and proper man. He dresses very well. This powerful man. And I think he has this, this self-image, right? I think you see that in the little mannerisms that the actor brings to the role as well. I played the bit of the scene that reminded me of that. And sorry, in that video where he did that, I think I laughed, and that's what I was laughing at because it was just so perfectly, I don't know, Howard. Even though I don't really know what that is yet, because I don't know his character all that well. From what I knew of him, it was so perfectly Howard.
What's up?
That little moment where he just turns and, it's just so careful and almost mechanical in the way that he moved. And so, sorry, I'll play the scene. Look at him. Yeah.
Davis,
sorry. His hands are wet from the ice, and he's looking around, and he almost goes to wipe it on his shoe, and he's like, I can't.
Move it along.
Yeah. Okay, towel, cool. And just the way he does this, look. The way he stood, he does like a little adjustment. Sorry, I'm nerding out, I will be honest with you. None of this matters at all in the grand scheme of things, but look how he adjusts his feet.
Davis in Maine.
Look at that. It's a very purposeful movement, right? And I do feel like people do this kind of thing all the time because I think image is important, and I think it's important to a lot of people as well. And I think Howard is that kind of person that is like, no, it matters the way that I stand. Very straight, not, his legs aren't apart in a way that I feel like it's such a professional way of standing. This line, this, straight line of a person. It's almost like a professional pose. It's a very careful pose. He kind of rearranges himself and it's like, yeah, good. This is good. I'm better now. This is good. Anyone looks at me, I'm like, yeah, man in a suit, stood very finely, stood with my legs not too far apart, but not too close either. Just the perfect silhouette of a man. Do you know what I mean? And it made me kind of laugh and draw attention to it because it reminds me of the consistency that I've seen with the actor playing this character that I saw, for example, in episode 9 when he turned and did that little movement and to Kim. And I think that's all the way through his performance. I really like it, and I think it actually gives his character a lot of personality that we haven't seen a lot of yet, right? I think a lot of what I'm seeing from the character is through little movements like that, which is all down to the actor and well played to him. Like even the way that he just wipes his hands on the towel, very careful, very like no movement wasted, almost professional, which sounds insane. It is, like just the way that he kind of cleans one hand after the other.
Case.
Well, it's definitely not a two-man.
And again, he's paying attention. He's attending to his image. He checks his suit, wipes his suit a little bit. I can't be even slightly disheveled. And I think that says a lot about who he is as a person and what he values as a person too.
Really pulling their weight.
They better.
Oh, Chuck doesn't know. I don't think he knows about Jimmy.
Anyone heard from Jimmy?
Right.
I have, yes. I've talked to him.
And good on you, sir.
He's fine, doing well.
Beating around the bush. I wonder what Chuck will do if he finds out that Howard was the one who kind of gave him that job. Not gave him the job, but like put a word in, right?
He's working at Davis in Maine.
Amazing. Let's see.
Doing what?
Are you serious? Right? Howard's look there of like, are you serious? Doing what? I hate Chuck. Doing what? The audacity, the disrespect in that question.
Working as an attorney.
I love Howard's little look there. He's such a great actor. Howard's actor is such a great actor. Everything that I exclaimed, he just translated with that look. Waiting.
Clifford Maine hired Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit of pride. Not pride. Kind of like a, yeah, where he deserves to be. Do you know what I mean? There's a little bit of strength in the way that he... Sorry, I'm just sucking Howard's right now. That's fair. That's all that's happening here. Just get on board, okay? But no, it's not quite pride. Pride's the wrong word, but it's like a, yeah, as he should be. Yeah, and like I say, a little bit of strength there from Howard actually pushing back against Chuck. And actually, this is interesting because this is the first time we've been privy to one of these conversations between Howard and Chuck, right? We haven't really seen this before, and we obviously are aware of all of it, right? We're aware of the conversations that Chuck's having with Howard, Chuck, and the way that Howard's had been carrying that lie for so long from Chuck on Howard's shoulders, right? So we've been aware of all these. It's the first time we're seeing it. And so I'm wondering, is there strength? Has there always been strength from Howard in these, discussions, conversations, or is he just starting to show a little bit more of individuality now? Maybe this is a change from what he's used to or what Chuck's used to seeing from him.
To be fair, he had his doubts, but he's giving Jimmy a chance.
Had his doubts, and who dissuaded him?
Every time they would talk to a Sandpiper resident, Jimmy's name would come up. Yeah,
Oh, Chuck is not okay with this at all. He's not happy.
those old folks, they
love him.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I didn't really draw attention to it, but when Chuck was having his tirade at Jimmy, it was very much, there was jealousy there. I don't think I mentioned it at the time, but he said something along the lines of, not everyone can just walk in and make people laugh and make people like them. And I feel like there was something in that. Because that was, I'm paraphrasing that line, I'm butchering that line. It was something along those lines from Chuck. He was like, you just go in somewhere and blah, 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 and that's not enough when it comes to the law. You gotta be, do you know what I mean? It was that kind of thing. And yeah, we see it here as well.
Those old folks,
they love him.
There, they love him. There's so many layers, I feel like, to that line and the way he delivered it. He's bitter. He's jealous. I think there's a deep jealousy for that aspect of Jimmy in Chuck. Because I don't think Chuck is that person. I don't think Chuck can do what Jimmy does. I don't think Chuck can walk in a room and instantly make everyone laugh and like him, and you know what I mean? Jimmy's that kind of character. He just is. He's done it to all of us, I think, for the most part. Yeah, I wonder where that comes from.
Cliff thought it would be a good idea for the case to have that sort of, continuity.
And we know that this is Howard taking a stand against Chuck, because Kim said that Howard put in a good word. So it clearly was Howard who talked to the guy. And I think even in that decision there shows individuality and strength of character from Howard's perspective. And I think the way that he's holding himself here, Howard, here.
Continuity.
There's a little sassiness in Howard here. I like it.
Jimmy certainly has a way with people.
He does.
And there it is again, that tone.
They're aware of his background?
Dude.
In the spirit of full disclosure, Cliff did talk to me beforehand.
Okay.
I didn't pull any punches. I tried to paint a complete picture,
Nice.
but I didn't stand in the way.
Of course not. Nor should you.
Oh, that is a dig. That's a dig at Chuck, man. That is such a dig. I didn't stand in the way, though, like you did. Oh, I love Howard. I love Howard for that.
Of course not.
Nor should you.
Nor should you.
Shut up.
Truth be told, Kim Wexler pushed for this hard,
Oh, don't put it on her.
but I didn't, stand in the way.
It's funny, isn't it? Sorry, I read that as sassiness and being like, well, I didn't do what you did. You know, yeah, piece of shit, you. I think he's trying to paint it to Chuck's mind as like, all I did was not stand in the way. I didn't say anything. I didn't like persuade them. That was Kim. I wonder, actually, it's interesting that Kim's saying it was him and he's saying it was her. I'm curious which one it was. I don't think they would have listened to Kim. I think Howard's word carries much more weight than Kim's. I think it's Howard. I think it absolutely is. I think Howard's absolutely covering himself here. And sorry, I think the way that he means it, and there's a little bit of unsurety there, the fact that he repeated that line, trying to push it forward to Chuck's mind of like, no, I didn't actually say anything to them. I didn't try and push this forward, but I didn't stand in the way. That was the most that I did or didn't do. I feel like he's trying to minimize his culpability in regard to this, which I think shows that he's still trying to retain Chuck's respect. You know, as much as I'm saying he's showing strength and actually coming against Chuck here, and I think he is, I think he has been, based on his actions, I think his words here are very much diplomatic, trying to maintain this relationship that he has with Chuck, this person that he does respect. And so yeah, I'll take it back. I don't think he was being sassy. I think he is just trying to like get out of the way a little bit and be like, I'm not to blame here. It's Kim. I think that's a little bit underhanded, by the way, Howard. Don't put it all on Kim, because I don't think it was.
Partner track?
I would,
Hedge. Is he hedging?
yeah, assume so.
He's hesitant.
That's great.
Oh, stop it.
Good for Jimmy.
We all know you don't.
Charlie Hustle, right?
Yep.
Howard thinks it's the danger's past.
Anything else you need me to add to Ernie's list?
No.
I think this is going to make Chuck come into the office. He's now got motivation to come into the office, and that's what he's been lacking. It's what he had. He had that motivation last season when he actually came out and went to HHM. And then after that, that motivation just disappeared. That motivation, I feel like, being to take that case away from Jimmy, actually, the more that I think about it. I think whatever I said last season as to his motivation for that, I think, honestly, looking back at it, there was a lot of motivation from him trying to take that machine gun out of the chimp's hands, right? And once he'd done that, once he completed that mission, I'm good. I don't need to be here anymore. And I feel like that's why he hasn't been able to leave the house now that Howard said this. And it's funny, Chuck was like, that's great. And Howard believed him at face value and kind of laughed and was like, Charlie Hustle, right? And the tone shifted for Howard. Howard was like, okay, danger's over. I don't think so. I think this is the motivation that Chuck's been lacking to get back into the office. However, I think his motivation coming back into the office is going to be to undermine Jimmy, and therefore maybe even undermine the case. And it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to work, because perhaps then he's actually going to jeopardize it, which is interesting, because it's like he holds this thing of the law as sacred. And so it's going to be interesting as to if he does that, he's actually going against what he stands for. And it's like, where's your line? Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's speculation, but yeah, we'll see.
Anytime. You truly are missed. No pressure.
Oh, he coming back though. I feel like he is, man. Yeah. Yep. Oh, is he going to play it perfectly now? Because he's got some motivation. Oh God, stop it. I do not like that. He has got such a look, hasn't he? When he wants to. He looks so evil. Hello and welcome to another Better Call Saul Sunday, the show that happens every single Sunday until we are finished with it. Today, season 2, episode 2, The Cobbler. And without further ado, let's see what it holds. Oh, let's smash it. Oh, hello. Oh, you don't like Francis, huh? Why? Is Jimmy here? Is it going to be Jimmy's?
Document review will be coordinated
Hey, maybe she just wanted to be sat next to Jimmy.
between Sandpiper and its residents.
Oh, hello. What's going on underneath? Oh, we're playing footsie. Go on, get in there. Hello, Kim initiating.
Resident invoice.
Now I'm wondering, because of last episode, maybe Jimmy's question wasn't unfounded. I was putting a lot of that on him and his ego. However, maybe... Ooh... I'm thinking now, maybe she had a thing about him being in the mailroom. Just because of that conversation, the question he asked last episode of like, does this change anything? Can we be together now, right? I think that's where he was going with that. Maybe. Sorry, wild speculation. And maybe that was why he even started to try and pass the bar in the first place. Not for Chuck, for Kim. Because that was when they kissed as well, right? In the flashback. And if we're going... Sorry, so it's interesting. That's what made me think about it. She was the first one to make the move in this scene. That's what put me onto it. Something about this tickles her fancy, let's say. What is it about this that's different? He's on a level. He's working for this law firm. It's legit. He's on a par with her. He's a lawyer. He's on the right track for partner. And maybe there's more to it, like I say, than I was thinking. Maybe Kim was like, we can't be together. I can't be with someone in the mailroom. That would be really cruel. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on Kim. I feel like maybe I am, and I feel a bit bad because I like Kim. But yeah, it's so telling that she made the first move there. She likes this picture. And it's because of that, I feel. And so now I'm like, yeah, because of last episode, maybe it is. I would be so disappointed if that was why Kim is kind of more on board for this relationship now. And this happens. People do this. Depending on status and how much money someone's making, I think some people do de-elevate people in their minds because they work as X. Right. It's a complex question. It very much depends on the context as to whether that's okay or not, I feel. There's an element of that feels like it's not okay. But also I'm like, well, at the end of the day, if you don't want to be the sole breadwinner in a relationship and you want them to be able to support not only themselves, but you as well, and be like a team in that respect, then I think that's fair. I think especially in the day and age that we live in now, right, for financial hardships or trials and tribulations in regards to finances are very important, right? In this country, we're going through a cost of living crisis. So like, do you know what I mean? I can absolutely understand why someone would value that kind of thing. I think that all that does is highlight the systems we live in and how actually the systems we live in perhaps limit the way that we should want to naturally go. I mean, I don't know where you fall on this. I feel like, when you're looking for a partner, you should be looking for someone who's going to make you the happiest. And I get that nowadays we have the finance question in that equation as well. If we didn't live in such a kind of capitalist, money at the forefront kind of world, it wouldn't be such a question, and we could kind of put that aside and concentrate on the important stuff. Do they make me happy? Do they make me laugh? Do I love being around them as a person, right? I feel like those are more important, but that's my point. So I think, to a certain extent, it's not necessarily, if that's where Kim's got, sorry, I'm going on a whole thing. I don't even know if this is true. So I can value that, but then I don't know. Maybe it's not money. Maybe it's power. She needs to be with a powerful person, right? Like a professionally powerful, but sorry, I'm getting way too much on the speculation track. I'll stop because I know some people don't like it, but yeah, interesting implications. My theory going forward is going to be that, I think, from Kim's perspective. And I think considering what we've seen on Chuck, I wouldn't put it past this show to flip how I feel about Kim. Because we did see last episode when he walked away like, oh, it doesn't mean... Good. Okay, good. It doesn't mean anything. Amazing. He walked away. We lingered on Kim's face. There was uncertainty there. And so I think there was something to whatever Jimmy was saying. I think, actually, maybe she was lying there. And this, I think, is evidence fodder for that as well. I'm watching you, Kim. But I'm starting to suspect that he went on that journey and passed the bar and worked so hard because in his mind, that came hand in hand with Kim.
Is it a nice place?
Finest in temporary corporate housing.
Can't wait to see it. I'm so happy for you.
Good.
I'm even thinking of looking, my own place to buy.
Big open floor plan.
I do hope we linger in this for a little bit. You know what I mean? I do, because it's good. He's on the track that I want. I hope we linger in this for a little longer, because I know it can't last.
Long ride through the country and then a glass of wine on the back patio at sunset.
Ooh, she's suddenly picturing.
Oh, and we should get one of those smokers.
They're delivering my new company car.
Jeeves, where's my solid gold blip?
See you tonight?
If you play your cards right.
I want this to work, man. I really do. I really do. I want them to be happy. Because we know where Saul, we know where Saul ends up, right? That is not a man, based on my theory, that Kim would ever want to be with.
What do you think, ladies? It's got all leather interior.
It's interesting, isn't it? I get the impression, I get this sense that we're seeing what Jimmy could have. This is the life I feel like he could have had. And I feel like something, I think it's going to be Chuck, honestly. At this point, I think it's going to be Chuck that just pushes him towards the path we know. This car, the job, Kim, this episode so far is very much showing us the life that Jimmy could have had if he'd have stayed Jimmy. And it's painful, but it's also nice.
Goodbye hug.
She does not soften. Nice car, dude. Oh god, yeah, the sunroof. Keep that closed, mate. Yeah, good. Thank you. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, interesting symbology again. Something about him doesn't quite fit in this life. The cop won't quite fit in the new shiny car. Oh god. Oh, because he's in trouble, yeah? At the courthouse.
Hey!
Funny, isn't it? Butterfly effect. If he hadn't turned Mike down that time, he wouldn't be in this situation.
Why don't you pull around over there? We'll have a little talk.
I'm very interested. This is interesting, right? This is like a subplot, essentially. I mean, I hesitate to say subplot because it's Mike, right? But it kind of is. But I'm so interested in it. And it's funny, isn't it? We're lingering on this guy, right? The guy with the glasses. And I thought he was just going to be like a job and then done. Very interesting we're lingering on this. And it makes sense in my head, at least to a certain point, because it's Nacho's involved in that. And I feel like Nacho's going to be very relevant going forward at some point. I did say last season I thought he was going to be more of a thing this season. I'm not entirely sure. There's 6 seasons of this show. There's plenty of time for him to come into it in a bigger way later down the line, so we'll see. But yeah, no, I'm so interested in this little subplot. You know what I mean? We've not seen very much of it, but I feel like it's been, every time we've seen it, and this interaction between Mike and this guy, it's always been compelling.
I'm not stupid. It's my baseball cards I need back.
You are very focused, yeah, right, Mike. Like, this look that Mike's giving him.
Your baseball cards.
Exactly.
Your baseball cards.
Yes, I have a very valuable collection of...
It's probably a bad idea that you willingly talk to the police.
Yeah.
I'm here as a crime victim.
I think Mike's going to get me in touch with Jimmy.
They have no idea about my other business.
Oh, you fool.
If you already made your report, why are you here?
They called me. They have a few more questions. They are very dedicated to finding this thief.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Mike knows.
Since you
Mike
know
knows.
this, let
Good,
me explain
thank you.
it to you. And you will break.
Yeah, he will.
I disagree.
Not open for debate. You go home.
Good.
What about my baseball cards?
Cost of doing business.
No.
Yeah.
I will take the risk.
No, you won't. Because then you'll be putting my well-being at risk.
Those cards, some of them were my dad's.
Well, you got to let him go.
I am getting them back.
You're not getting them back.
I'm getting them back.
Mike's face.
I'll find your cards.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's got to, though. He's got to.
Sir, is that something you do?
There's nothing this man can't do.
That is so generous of you.
Oh, it'll cost you.
Good. Pump up your rates, mate.
Discuss some sort of financial arrangement in which I...
I love this whole dynamic.
Okay, then. Jesus.
He's called Mike, although Jesus is accepted. I wonder if he gets bored by this, you know? It's too calm. It's very calm. I don't know if Jimmy's ever going to be satisfied by that. Do you know what I mean? If he just settles into this day by day, going to work, getting stuff done, that's not a picture that kind of, I feel like at least, fits with Jimmy in a way that makes him content. Oh, hello. Hello, sir. Woo me. Oh, yeah. Put a leg on the table, why don't you, mate? Come on, do it properly. And now, Wonderwall.
Well, I've just blown off some steam.
Nice. Interesting the comparison between him and Chuck, actually, that we saw. You know, Chuck playing piano, this guy playing guitar. Yeah, they've got things in common. Wonder if that'll come into play later down the line.
Oh, I tried to learn in high school, but then I decided there were easier ways to get girls.
And there you go, you know, we see that element of Jimmy that Chuck so hates. He walks into a room and he just cracks off a joke, right? Makes the guy laugh, and it's going to make the guy really like Jimmy. It's why people like Jimmy. And it's like, for Chuck, I guess, it's that thing of like, yeah, people admire him professionally. Do they like him as a person? I think it can isolate you as a person, right? That kind of thing. Because it's then, how many personal relationships do you really have? And actually, you know, questioning that now, I'm like, yeah, how many personal relationships does Chuck actually have? I mean, from what the evidence that I've seen in the show, the only person he had was Jimmy. There's no one else coming around the house unless it's in a professional capacity. I think Howard's relationship with him is very professional as well. Yeah, again, very isolating. Maybe lends itself to a little bit of Chuck's bitterness, maybe that loneliness, and explains that bitterness that he holds for Jimmy's way with people.
We're happy to have you. Just let us know if there's anything else you need, Jimmy.
That's really nice. I love Cliff.
Schweikert and Coakley keep referring to the optional allowance program, which makes me think it's more of a mandatory financial arrangement.
Nice catch. Yeah.
Might be onto something here.
Yeah. Oh, I love that he's shining. I love that he's shining. Oh, hello. Nacho? Hello. Yeah, Mike. Okay, cool. Hey, I love that Mike's been given a little bit more to do in the show.
I was hoping to get my seats reupholstered.
Sorry, a brief pause. It's just beautiful sometimes just watching these actors act, because like the show, the way they shoot these shows, they're allowed to. So often it's like, okay, say the lines, cool, we done. Cut, let's move on. I can't tell you the amount of sets that I've worked on where that's the case. It's very rare for you to get on a set and it's like there's freedom. It's not as common as you think it might be, right? Like and that's insane, isn't it? But it very much depends on who you're working with. It very much depends on the director and what kind of set they want, what they allow you, because you do encounter people who they want the lines said exactly as they're said, word for word, absolute rote, and you cannot go out of those lines. And I just feel like, Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, they are such shows that they're allowed to work outside the lines, right? Like just this little interaction here, the way that Mike did this. Pausing, kind of like all of that, and it's a small moment, but it's this kind of thing happens all the time, and I've drawn attention to it a lot all the way through Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul so far, and I just love that. I really love that, and I think it's what sets this show and these shows apart. It lets the script breathe. It lets the actors breathe and just play. I mean, it depends. It very much depends. It depends, and it depends on taste as well of the audience. I very much like that. Other people might not, and that's fair. I think all of this is subjective. I love that about these shows. I really, really do. Oh, is it Nacho? Is it actually Nacho? It is. Instantly recognizes Mike. Of course he does. I'm so looking forward to this conversation. So interesting seeing Mike play around these people. He's so confident. He knows what he's doing. There's an element of danger there. Doesn't matter. He's getting the job done.
Classic car.
Nacho's face. He's not happy.
I was thinking leather, definitely. Maybe alligator.
A bold choice.
Oh, senor, too much money. Mental value.
Oh, a little bit distracted, Nacho. Come on, dude.
Más consistente con el estilo del carro.
Nice. This guy knows what he's doing. I like him.
He says alligator's gonna look all wrong.
Oh, bless this guy. I'm so sorry. Alligator, he was like, this leather is too expensive, too much money, and that wouldn't even go with the car. This would go so much better. Nacho, convince him. I love this guy. What a businessman. Amazing. Perfect. If we're going to live in a capitalist world, at least we've got guys like this that don't care about that, and they're just going to be like, no, it's fine. I'll take less money for taste.
Show me what you'd pick.
I trust this man. Whatever he's going to say, go with it.
My son, he will help you.
Son, huh?
Okay?
Don't try to upsell him. Interesting. Oh my goodness, that's such an interesting mix of ingredients into this little scene. It's like, this is the bad guys. It's supposed to be, right? But they have, this guy has so much. I wonder how involved he is with all of the behind the scenes stuff. I'm kind of questioning whether he even is. I think maybe Nacho, this is his front. This is the job that he has, and then, elsewhere, is the Nacho we know.
How'd you find me?
Was it easy?
But you underestimated just how big an idiot you were dealing with.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty aware.
He called the police and reported them stolen.
Yeah, he shouldn't have called the police. It's so silly.
That sounds like a you problem.
Correct. However, Mike.
It's very much an us problem.
Okay.
But I think what we have here now is a carrot and stick situation.
Oh.
This a stick?
I love this conflict of professionals, right? We have the guy in the Hummer and he's over there and he's doing his own thing, and he is an idiot in this world. He shouldn't be here. But I love this moment, this conversation between Mike and Nacho. And season 1, when we first saw Nacho, my brain didn't even go to seeing an interaction with Mike and Nacho, right? But I love that I'm getting it, and I love that they're, like I say, there are these two professionals in this world, established, they know what they're doing. It's this pitting of equals. It's so enjoyable to watch.
I'm not here to threaten your family.
Yeah.
And the name of the stick is Tuco Salamanca.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah, he's leveraging that.
You don't play ball, so to speak.
Nacho was going outside.
Your little side business.
Yeah.
Big enough stick. I prefer the carrot, and you net 60,000.
Good deal.
No, exactly does that work?
Okay. Chucky boy. All right. Yeah, there it is. The jacket's coming back on. I wonder why.
Going somewhere?
Wonder what his motivation could have been.
She's a little
tricky around the corners, and you gotta go with the premium gas. I know it seems like a scam.
My man. Amazing. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Make sure the boys at the chop shop are real gentle with her.
Why?
This guy has not got his priorities straight at all. He deserves to get caught. God, Mike absolutely saved this boy.
Yeah, that looks like everyone.
This man's so lucky.
Our business is concluded.
Yeah, you walk away, mate, and that's it.
You know, I can't help thinking an apology was in order.
Excuse you.
While we're waiting on those subpoenas, I'm thinking we should try.
Oh, Chuck's gonna just walk in. Oh, I hate it because I was about to be like, oh, look how smooth it is. Howard, you know, talking to Jimmy like an equal, right? And, you know, it's all going so smoothly. And it's brilliant. I love this. I really love this. He's on the straight and narrow, you know, plying his trade. And great, it's all working. And then immediately my brain was like, Chuck! We know he's coming back. Oh, God.
Well, this one lady, she's sweet, but
Yeah, she's setting Chuck up.
paperwork in, she keeps
Mobile phones, yeah. Jimmy's subconsciously working that out, I think. This is even worse. He's gonna have to wait, knowing he's coming in. Like this foreboding wave of dread. Keep it together, Jimmy, keep it together. Again, just this compliance with everybody. The way the room changes, the way that everyone reaches for the lights, turns them off, no questions asked. This power's insane. This power that Chuck has. Yeah, Kim looking at Jimmy. Bless. Jimmy, you deserve a seat at this table. You're gonna be fine, dude. You're gonna be fine.
Mind me. Hey, everybody.
Chuck is like the chimp with the machine guns back again. I gotta take that away from him.
Where were we?
yeah. So I was saying,
Yeah, and he's freezing up. Of course, we all know it's not because he's a bad lawyer. It's because he's got the Grim Reaper himself. He's sat at the table. Oh my goodness, I hate that. I hate that so much. Because Jimmy was killing it. Jimmy's killing it. He can kill it. Chuck's gonna look at that and be like, yeah, he can't measure up. He's not measuring up at all. Look at him. Oh, it's a good thing I was here, right, boys? Hey, come on. I gotta get this guy out of here. Don't worry about it. Hey, don't ask questions. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Oh.
so I was saying,
You've got it, Jimmy. Come on, boo. Come on, dude. You got this.
clients,
Oh, good. You got this.
we definitely have some pack rats. God bless them.
Nice. Perfect. I love that. I love if Kim and him are going to be this unit that support each. Oh man, I want that so bad. The best thing Jimmy can do in this situation now is flex himself and be the lawyer we all know he is in front of Chuck. We need that. What I want from this show right now, not right now, but like at some point, is for Chuck to acknowledge Jimmy in the way that he's not right now as a professional lawyer worth his salt, because he is. We know that. Kim knows that. Howard knows that. Everyone knows that apart from Chuck, and I need to see that. I want to see that, and I think we're going to get it. The only reason I say that is because every single time I've wanted something from these shows, Breaking Bad included, Breaking Bad most of all, it's come about. I'm not saying I'm going to get that in the way that I want it. I'm pretty sure I'm probably not going to get that in the way that I want it. That's also how these things go. But the fact that I'm sitting here wanting that now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it. I'm laying my name down on the line a little bit. But I think it's going to be painful. I don't know why yet. I don't know why.
Our clients will always be our best resource. Plus, they have ribbon candy.
Making people laugh. It's so poignant that that's how that scene ended, in making the room laugh. That thing that I think rubs Chuck up such the wrong way. He's going to come out of that meeting so much more motivated to put an end to Jimmy and to come up against Jimmy, more so, I think, because of how that scene ended.
What are you doing here?
My name is on the building.
Oh, stop it. The first thing he does, it tells you so much about his character. It goes back to this privilege, this ego that he has. The way that he answers that, there's no level of humility. It's like, well, my name's on the building. Look how high above you I am. It's just little things like that. They do tell you a lot.
If you need anything, I'll be in my office.
Oh God, Howard, no, why? Why the ambush?
Why are you here?
To bear witness.
Yeah, to make sure you're behaving, Jimmy. It's so annoying.
It's Ermintrout.
Good boy. Oh, look at that. Yeah, do you want to watch with me? You've missed a lot, I'll be honest with you, but I feel like you can pick it up. I do. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think of Chuck so far? It's a head, isn't he? Yes, he is. Oh, you smell like grass, mate. What have you been doing? Huh? What have you been doing? Okay, no. You can't be purring straight into the mic, dude. Okay, yes, he can. Of course he can. He can do whatever he wants. Oh, we're getting straight into this. Amazing.
There's really no need for a lawyer to be here.
Are you sure?
And just wanted a friendly face next to him.
Nicely played.
Well, we're all friendly here.
Look at us.
Doubt.
4 friends.
My uncle had a Ty Cobb tobacco card. Kept that thing behind.
No, tamp down on that enthusiasm, sir.
Ty Cobb.
Don't take the bait.
Even artificial lighting has a certain amount of ultraviolet radiation.
Remind us exactly where you kept your cards in the house.
Don't.
Why don't you get some air? You can have some coffee. I'll finish up with the detectives here.
Perfect.
Found Mr. Wormald's little hidey hole, and that's why you two are so interested in.
Okay, interesting. He's just coming straight at them. I love that.
It's between Mr. Wormald and his art patron.
Nudist?
My client has an arrangement. And Mr. Wormald provides art
his
in
body?
exchange for this gentleman's generous
Oh yeah, amazing.
patronage.
Never tell. I feel like Mr. Wormald doesn't know this.
Like what, paintings?
No, stop asking questions.
It's more like digital media.
Oh, D-pics.
He made videos for the man.
Amazing. Oh my god, I love this little side quest story of Mr. Wormald having like a banging OnlyFans. And I know it's not the year for OnlyFans, but I'm just saying he'd kill it. He would kill it. You know he would. I don't know why, but he would. Speaking of would, I'm so sorry.
Digital media.
He made
Sorry, I just realised. I'm pretty sure this is completely out of Jimmy's ass. He's making this up on the spot.
What was on these videos?
They were private.
You said that.
Well then listen.
Nothing illegal. Just a man, a fully clothed man, I might add.
Interesting. You are painting a picture, Jimmy. I'll be honest with you. The more you talk, I want to see it.
Fully clothed.
I hope he wore the yellow shoes though.
By himself. Doing what?
Yeah, come on, man, what?
Why? Hey, come on. Behave yourselves. Stop it. They're so curious. They're too curious. Stop it. Hey, if you want him to make some videos for you, just ask him.
Squat cobbler.
Mr. Wormald.
Squat cobbler.
What's a squat cobbler?
Squat cobbler. You know what squat cobbler is.
I don't. Tell me though.
What? You two guys are cops? Full moon pie.
Oh, I think I know.
Boston cream splat.
Wait, no, I don't. Sorry, I thought I knew, but then he said another.
Simple Simon the man.
Right.
Am I not speaking English here?
I think I know what it is.
What the hell is a squat cobbler?
It's when a man sits in pie.
Oh, I didn't get that right. What I was thinking of was way worse.
Technically, he does a crybaby squat, so there's tears, which
Why?
makes it more special.
I love that he's making it more degenerate as he goes along. He didn't have to say the cry thing. He didn't have to say that at all, Jimmy.
It's not all pie sitters cry, but I'm going to tell you something.
What a quote! What a quote!
Pies. What, like apple?
Why are you asking for details, mate?
Oh, and there is a costume involved.
You got to be in this.
Well, you'd think.
Yeah, like I would make this up. But trust me on this, you don't want to see it.
Chuck couldn't have done that, by the way, just saying.
You're going to have to make a video.
Can I see it, please? At this point, I'm invested.
Wait, so he eats the pies or just sits in them?
You know what? Forget everything else. Whatever happens from this point forth, I'm going to let myself enjoy this. That's it. I'm going to let myself enjoy Kim and Jimmy having a good time, getting on, and eating pie. And that's it. That's all there is to it, mate.
How the hell did you come up with that? If you gave me a million years, I still would not have come up with that.
Exactly. That's the special element to Jimmy as a lawyer. And like, I know this is a big ask, but forget all the questionable things he's done. I know it's a big ask. I know. However, get rid of that for a second. And again, I guess what I was saying at the end of last season, this is a Jimmy unleashed, unfettered. He is. He's flexing all of his technique, all of his skill set to do his job as a lawyer for his client. Everything he can to absolve them. By the letter of the law, it's not really playing fair. I don't know though. I don't know. I suppose it depends where you're coming at it from. Let me know down in the comments. What do you think? Do you like this act, the way that Jimmy got Mr. Wormald off in this respect? Do you think that was justified? Do you think that was good? Do you think that was him just doing his job? Like, where do you come down on it? I'm very curious. I mean, I suppose as the audience member watching a show, I love it. I think maybe if you're asking me, you know, in a real life circumstance, if that happened, if a lawyer said that and it was all a lie and I knew all that, is that the right thing? I think I'd probably come down on no, actually. It's interesting There's definitely a divide when you're talking about this stuff in regard to the show Better Call Saul, and you know, moralizing it in the context of a show and moralizing it in the context of real life, right? Even from that moment in Pimento when Chuck comes at Jimmy in the way he does, I can see his perspective. I can absolutely see his perspective. I still don't think it's right. I still don't think he's the good guy in that situation. I still do think he's actively harming Jimmy as a person. But like, to a certain extent, I can see his point. And I think it calls into question, what is a lawyer there for? What is the law meant to do? Is it meant to protect the innocent person? I've mentioned this before. I don't think it always does, but that's what it's supposed to do, right? And Mr. Warmalt is not the innocent person in this scenario. He's not, and yet Jimmy got him off. Is that right? Is it wrong? I guess on paper that's wrong. And I suppose shows the duality of Jimmy's character and how he is from last season coming into season 2, more half and half in that respect. He's more relying on his whole skill set. He is Jimmy, Slippin' Jimmy, going into Saul. I see the first steps of that morality coming into play.
I've heard some far out scenarios used to sow doubt, but this definitely takes the cake.
Right, and Kim, I think it's interesting, considering what I just said and considering what Kim just said, because I would consider, I don't know about you, I would consider Kim to be pretty straight and narrow, and she's coming at that from a professional sense. Maybe she's biased to a certain extent because it's Jimmy and she's got a personal connection to Jimmy, right? I can understand that too, but she's kind of coming at it, not in the way that I'm coming at it. She's not being like, no, you were wrong to do that, you were making it up. She's like, nah, in the eyes of the law.
I've heard some far out scenarios used to sow doubt, but this definitely takes
Boom.
the cake.
A scenario used to sow doubt. To sow doubt. I think that's it's a very lawyer term. And she's coming at it from a lawyer's perspective, and she's not weighing in from a moral perspective. She's weighing in from a professional perspective. And it's interesting, the little balance that actually Kim serves in this scene.
Oh, to be fair, I think it was the video that clinched it.
Amazing. I love that they made the video.
Wait, you actually made a video?
Ooh, is she gonna take issue with this?
Oh, this is a
Yeah, look at her face.
leftover prop. It was extra.
No. I don't think that's where she's coming from. I think she's going to come at it from a perspective of like, you shouldn't do that. Is it illegal? Baby. Dude, you got to chill. Is that illegal? I think we're about to find out. Yeah, very interesting, the conversation that I was just having and the way that she was coming at it. I think she's going to, let's just watch. Dude, when you are causing mayhem.
I believed the tears.
Yeah, because surely that's questionable, ethic-wise.
You fabricated evidence?
Right.
I made a video. Not exactly evidence.
Right.
You used it to exonerate a client.
Interesting.
Falsified evidence to exonerate a client.
I think you're splitting hairs.
I'm not splitting hairs.
I love that I just had the conversation that I just had. I really love that I just had that conversation, and I did moralize it, and now she is. And yeah, I love that I'm getting an answer actually from the show. And for the first time, she's seeing that he's compromised perhaps the morals of this. Right, so up until this point in the show, we've only seen this kind of thing from the perspective of the audience. The audience has seen all this stuff, but no one in the show quite has, other than Chuck suspecting, right, and flinging accusations at Jimmy. There's not actually been a character that's held him up and been like, hang on though, that's actually this. The conversation I think that I've been having this entire time in season 1 and coming into season 2, this is the first time in the show that it's dealing with this. This is so interesting. And I wonder, as a result of this, actually, whether the relationship between Kim and Jimmy is going to fracture a little bit. I think the reason that she's kind of going for him a little bit, working with that theory that I have, I think this, in her mind, is going to take a hit as to Jimmy's prestige and bring him down, in her mind at least.
It wasn't a Davis and Maine client. It was some nothing little pro bono thing. It was off the clock. It was,
Oh, is that a thing?
I was doing a favor for a friend.
Risking disbarment? That's some friend.
Really? Is that how it worked? Okay.
Davis and Maine are none the wiser.
Jimmy, you're playing with fire here.
He is then, yeah.
I didn't see you complaining when Ken the douchebag paid our bar bill the other night.
Sure, not quite the same. It's interesting that the way that he's trying to... Sorry, I'll finish this scene.
Not the same thing.
How? What's the difference?
Yeah, go on.
That had nothing to do with work.
Okay.
Just screwing around.
But it had serious real life consequences though. So yeah, sorry, that's what I was going to mention. She's going to be like, yeah, it's not the same. And it's like, and I was going to be like, yeah, it's not. But then I caught myself because I was like, how is it not the same thing? It depends, doesn't it? I think the severity of punishment is different. If Jimmy gets caught for what he did with I forget his name every single time. I think if Jimmy gets caught lying about the pie evidence thing, the severity of the punishment is much higher than if the guy finds them, these two. But in respect to that, what is the actual other than the rules that we've made? I mean, if you think about it, right? All laws and the law enforced by lawyers are rules made by us as humans, right? Let's not forget that for a moment. And hey, I'm not here to like question all of that. I'm absolutely not, maybe a little bit. But at the end of the day, laws have changed throughout time, you know, depending on where we're at and as a society. And so I think it is a prevalent question. I think comparing these two cases, in reality's case, I think the only actual difference is the punishment if Jimmy's caught compared to, you know, if Jimmy and Kim caught the other thing. But in reality, they both had real world consequences. Mr. Walmart, sorry, I'm butchering his name now. Yeah, Jimmy got him off. I mean, we all know he got a criminal released free of charge. At the same time, they extorted essentially the money to pay for that bar bill in the same way, right? Like, I feel like it did still have real world consequences. And that's what I would come back to. But when we get to that point, right, when we've got to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, sure, Tyler, yeah, there's real world consequences, but what are those consequences and which one is more severe? Is it more severe to get a guy to buy your drinks for you? Is it more severe to put a criminal out there free and, you know, able to apply his trade and harm more people with, you know, drugs sold through Nacho, etc., etc.? And it's like, yeah, I would absolutely agree that that is more severe. However, we know as the audience, Mr. Walmart does not have the capability to be selling those drugs anymore. Should he have got away with what he got away with? Because at the end of the day, I suppose he has sold drugs, so he has committed that crime and harmed however many people by selling those drugs to Nacho, who is then going to distribute them to the populace, right? So yeah, sure, that is a mark that he should really be punished for, right? However, in the situation at hand, Jimmy getting him off at this point isn't preventing what he's already done, because he's actually going forward not going to be able to commit that crime anymore. And I think we've seen enough to know that he's not intelligent enough to find another buyer like Nacho to distribute said drugs. So if anything, you know, Mr. Walmart, he's inert as a threat. I suppose on paper, morally, is there much threat of that going any further? I think no. But then, you know, you look at the guy in the bar, and this is all speculation. I have no evidence for this at all. That guy we've seen also from Breaking Bad, piece of shit. How many people is he harming in his life, whether it's personal or professional? It's so great. It's so complex, man. This is so complex as a moral question. I suppose the line that I'm going to draw at least is like, yeah, I know on the straight and narrow, on paper, as we stand today, the more commonly bad thing is Jimmy fabricating evidence, right? It sets a dangerous precedent. You shouldn't do that. I get that. I absolutely get that. I think, you know, from a basic moral standpoint, that's wrong. And I think the thing that they did in, you know, getting the guy to pay the bar bill, by comparison, is less problematic. I think that's the simplest answer you can come up with. I think when you dive deeper, as you've seen me just do, I do think it gets more complex personally. But I do think it's an interesting characterization for Kim as well. And it was something that I think I'd guessed, but hadn't really had confirmed in the show, of like, yeah, she absolutely is on the straight and narrow, in the same way that Howard is, in the same way that Chuck is, and in a way that Jimmy's not. As a question of philosophical right or wrong, I think there's such an interesting conversation to be had here. And keeping obviously in mind that, you know, it's, at the end of the day, we as humans have made these laws. They are, while you might say they're sacred and fair enough, they are things that have been made up by us at some point in history. And by that logic, they can always change. And they have changed. So I think taking all that into effect, very interesting. I think simplistically, Jimmy's probably in the wrong in this situation. I think it goes deeper than that. Very complex. Let me know, weigh in down in the comments. I've talked enough about it, so let's move on.
Jimmy, this could really hurt you.
And it could. She's right.
They're never gonna find out.
Seriously, you sound like every dumb criminal out there. For what, Jimmy? What is the point?
Her asking him directly. Interesting. And I think his hesitation there is because she's finally seeing Slipping Jimmy for the first time, right? He's kind of caught himself. He's like, oh, goddamn, I actually showed her Slipping Jimmy truly. This almost cracked moral code. And I don't think he realized, he got comfortable. This is an environment, a relationship he feels very comfortable in. And so he wasn't kind of guarding himself enough. And he's scared that she's going to treat him the same that Chuck treats him, knowing that information. And that, I think, is what this long pause is, this long kind of introspective moment that Jimmy has here.
For what, Jimmy?
This. For what? Doesn't know what to say, because he feels Chuck in the way that she's coming at him right now.
I cannot hear about this sort of thing.
Right.
Ever again, okay?
Ooh, drawing lines. Interesting though. She's to a certain extent, that is her accepting that. Oh man, already I'm seeing the way that this is gonna break really horribly as well. Yeah, lingers on the shot of the two of them. Oh, come on. Just let me have it for an episode. Do you know what I mean? Can you just let me enjoy it for an episode? Interesting. She's very biased, obviously, right? The fact that she was like, I can't hear about this. I accept that you might do this. I can't hear about it. The relationship that they have can't last. Again, especially knowing what I know about where Jimmy goes. I think I've talked enough. I've paused a lot this video, so I do apologize if it was too much for your liking, but here we are. At the end of the day, I can't help it. You know, the show is the show, and a lot to talk about. Could have talked a lot more, so behave yourself. I feel like the last scene there really, in my mind, solidified this idea of a timer for their relationship. I don't think it can last for that reason. I think she's too on the straight and narrow. The decision that he made last season, this is the thing as well. He could have had all of this if Chuck had... And it comes back to Chuck, right? It's everything that I was saying at the end of last season. If Chuck hadn't done what he did and broken what he broke, Jimmy now is in a position, right in this moment, this season, if that hadn't happened and he'd had, I mean, I know, and this is the thing, it's backwards, because I know that if he'd had the support of Chuck, he'd probably be with HHM right now, right? And so this doesn't even become a question. But the only reason that he's kind of embraced himself and kept the ring and Marco and all that stuff that happened, you know, in episode 10 last season and episode 9 in Pimento with the Chuck Jimmy conversation, all of that fed into this unfettering of Jimmy and this slipping Jimmy coming back in. And the only reason that he's kind of embracing this more fully, no hesitation taking the call from Mike, he knows he shouldn't, in the situation that he's in, that he shouldn't be taking that outside of the company pro bono. He could get into a lot of trouble for that. I didn't know that. You know that Jimmy knows that. And I think part of the decision-making process for him in doing that is what happened last season in the last 2 episodes. In this moment right now, if Chuck hadn't done that and damaged Jimmy and made Jimmy go back to, you know, Cicero and Marco, Jimmy might not have made that decision. I do lay a lot of blame at Chuck's feet. At the same time, the further we get away from last season, the more I'm putting on Jimmy, because at the end of the day, he also could at this point be like, no, this is good. I'm not going to compromise myself. Okay, I went back to Cicero, Marco, all that stuff. I got the ring. I can still honor him by living the best life I can. He could still make the decision to stay on the straight and narrow and do that. Is he capable of that? No, I don't think he is. I think everything that Chuck did made him incapable of that. And I think, like I said, I think in the season finale last season, he's going to do everything he can to get away from that man and that man's sensibilities and the way that that man moralizes, right? He's absolutely going to push so far away, tear away from Chuck because of what Chuck did. So I don't think he's personally capable of being the person I want Jimmy to be. It's just such a painful mix of things. I think it's a little bit tenuous to keep putting everything on Chuck. Even though everything that Jimmy has got to right now is because of Chuck, he's still choosing to take Marco, take slipping Jimmy into himself and compromise himself and compromise what he's got, right? And I think that's on Jimmy. It is. It's very complex. I think this episode's been so complex morally, honestly, and I think you could go and have a discussion either which way on like a lot of the things in this episode, and I've tried to, I suppose, which is probably why this is going to be a long video. But with that said, I hope you've enjoyed this. That is where I'm going to end it. Thank you very, very much for watching. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, give it the old click, tick that bell button as well. You'll be notified every single week until I finish Better Call Saul Sundays, along with any content in between as well. Thank you, as always, to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. Early access content, by the way, over on Patreon. Link down in the description if you'd like to go have a look for yourself. And all that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.